Beneath the waves of southern Japan lies a shape that should not exist. Massive platforms, perfect terraces, stairs carved with impossible precision, all of it in total silence. Some say it is nothing, a trick of stone and sea. Others say it changes everything, because the geometry is too clean, the scale is too vast, and no one can agree who or what created it. Its age could be 2,000 years or more than 10,000, a monument older than memory itself. But the deeper you go, the less the story makes sense. So grab a coffee or your favorite snack and welcome to another episode of Deep Records. In 1986, a local diver named Kiyahachiro Aratake slipped beneath the waters off Yonaguni Island, searching for hammerhead sharks. Instead, he found something else entirely. At first, it looked like a shadow on the seafloor, a dark mass rising from the sand. But as he swam closer, the shadow sharpened. A platform 50 meters long, terraces stacked like giant steps, edges cut at perfect right angles, as if the ocean were hiding a forgotten city. The locals gave it a name, a dramatic one, Japan's Atlantis. When Aratake surfaced and reported what he'd seen, the reaction split instantly. Geologists shrugged. Just rocks, they said. Natural fractures, erosion, coincidence. But divers couldn't stay away. They returned again and again, unable to shake the feeling that the formation was wrong, too sharp, too deliberate, too enormous. Descending toward it feels like entering another world. The water is silent, but the shape is not. Layer after layer comes into view, broad platforms rising at impossible scale, flat as tables, straight as hallways, step after step, corner after corner, line after perfect line. Soon, more anomalies appeared, not one structure, but several. Blocks, spines, terraces, arranged across the seabed as if part of a single complex. Marine geologist Masaaki Kimura from the University of the Ryukyus began early mapping expeditions, tracing the outlines, measuring the angles, charting the depths. The Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology sent teams to survey the area, confirming that the formations stretched far wider than anyone expected. And yet, no one could agree on what they were looking at. Nature can be strange. Stones can fracture. Waves can carve, but Yonaguni feels different, purposeful, structured, impossible. Still, theories of ancient builders were held back. Evidence of tools or planning remained unspoken. For now, all that existed was the shape itself, silent, waiting, daring anyone to explain it. If this is nature, then nature has a strange sense of geometry.
And yet, some scientists insist that is exactly what it is. Because stone, especially basalt, can behave in surprising ways. It can fracture into straight lines. It can split into flat planes. It can build terraces without ever being touched by human hands. We've seen this before. In Ireland, the Giant's Causeway rises from the earth in perfect hexagons, a cathedral built by volcanic cooling. In Madagascar, the Zingi formations slice upward in jagged towers, an alien city sculpted entirely by erosion. Nature can imitate architecture, sometimes with unnerving precision. And for many geologists, Yonaguni simply lands in that category, another geological oddity shaped by time, pressure, and waves. At first, everything makes sense. The island sits on sedimentary and volcanic rock. Currents here are strong enough to carve even the hardest stone. Sharp edges can form naturally where layers break along horizontal bedding planes. This, they argue, is the explanation. This is the answer. But then, it doesn't. Because even if erosion creates straight lines, how does it create perfect internal right angles? Angles repeating across terraces like they were drawn with some invisible tool. How does it carve symmetrical platforms, broad, balanced, and identical in proportion? How does it produce flat surfaces stretching tens of meters without the slightest curve or warp that natural forces usually leave behind? And how does erosion craft staircases? Not rough steps, but steps with risers of almost uniform height stacked in exact succession. Basalt can fracture, waves can be sculpted, but the deeper researchers looked, the more the monument resisted the rules of geology. Dr. Robert Schoch from Boston University examined the site and agreed that natural processes played a major role. The rock type, the horizontal bedding, the fault lines, all real, all powerful. But even he admitted that parts of the structure looked unusual, too sharp, too deliberate, as if nature had done most of the work, but something else had finished the job. JAMS-Tech's sonar mapping revealed more puzzles, rectilinear edges extending beyond the main monument. Terraces maintain consistent depth levels, patterns that did not scatter randomly as erosion often does, but aligned. And alignment raises questions, because randomness is easy to accept, patterns are harder. If this is erosion, why does it look planned? Why do the angles echo each other, terrace to terrace? Why do the lines run parallel instead of wandering? Why do the surfaces feel carved, not broken? The more evidence collected, the stranger the monument becomes. Natural explanations begin confidently, and then slowly unravel. At first, everything makes sense, and then it doesn't. But even now, we hold back. No claims of tools, no claims of builders, not yet. For the moment, all we can say is this: if Yonaguni is a natural formation, then it is one of the most precise, most geometric, and most unsettling works of nature ever discovered. And the cracks in the geological explanation are only the beginning.
Then what comes next is the part scientists hesitate to touch. Because once you look past erosion, the monument begins to show signs of something else, something that feels intentional. Divers were the first to notice it, not scholars, not researchers, but people move slowly across the stone, feeling its surfaces with their hands. They reported patterns, lines and striations that resembled tool marks, not confirmed, not proven, but it's suspicious. Parallel grooves etched into steps and platforms as if something had scraped across them long ago. And then came the structures, names assigned not by imagination, but by shape. The Loop Road, a long, flat corridor wrapping around the monument like an ancient walkway, too flat to be in nature, too weathered to be modern. The Grand Staircase, a towering set of steps rising in perfect succession, each riser nearly identical in height. A staircase not built up the rock, but revealed from it, like layers peeled back in deliberate order. And the Triangle Pool, a depression carved into a near-perfect triangular basin, smooth walls, sharp edges, geometry that seems almost architectural. These features are what drew marine geologist Masaki Kimura into decades of research, documented throughout the Journal of Seafloor Studies. Kimura mapped terrace after terrace, tracing their symmetry, their orientation, their repeating proportions. What he found only deepened the mystery. Because the monument doesn't just contain sharp edges, it contains balance, patterns, mirroring shapes across different levels, as if the entire structure follows a hidden blueprint. Some divers claim to see stone blocks, segments that appear to sit separately from the bedrock, as though they were cut and placed. But others argue the opposite, that the blocks are illusions created by natural fractures, each one still attached to the larger foundation. So the debate continues. Kimura goes further still. He suggests that parts of the structure resemble elements of ancient coastal settlements, a ceremonial gate, two vertical slabs framing a narrow passage, a stadium-like depression,
a large sunken arena bordered by rising terraces, a monumental staircase, broad steps that ascend in dramatic formation toward a flat summit. These interpretations are controversial. Mainstream scholars say they are coincidences of geology, but even coincidences have limits, and Yonaguni pushes those limits further with every new survey. Yet the most unsettling piece of evidence has nothing to do with shape at all. It has to do with time. Sea level reconstructions published in geophysical research letters reveal that during the late Pleistocene, around 8,000 to 10,000 years ago, the oceans were far lower, as much as 100 meters lower in regions like this, meaning the Yonaguni Monument was likely above water, a towering platform exposed to wind and sky, a massive terrace system standing on dry land. If someone shaped these stones, then they lived here long before history remembers, long before the first known large-scale stone engineering in the region, long before the landscape drowned beneath rising seas. Studies of lost regions like Doggerland show that entire coastal cultures once thrived on land that today lies underwater. They built settlements, paths, structures, all erased when sea levels rose at the end of the Ice Age. Is Yonaguni one of those forgotten coastlines, the remnants of a community swallowed by time? Or is it simply a natural formation that looks too much like architecture for its own good? The deeper researchers dig, the less certain the answers become. Symmetry shouldn't be here. Balance shouldn't be here. Shapes that echo purpose shouldn't be here. Too flat to be in nature, too weathered to be modern. We still avoid the biggest question, the one we aren't ready to ask. Because if the monument was shaped by human hands, then those hands belong to a people who existed outside the borders of known history. And that possibility is a doorway we will open in the next chapter.
Across the world, the ocean hides stories we are only beginning to uncover. When the last ice age ended, the planet warmed and the seas rose. Not by a few meters, but by up to 120 meters across entire continents. Shorelines vanished, valleys drowned, coastlines redrew themselves in silence. Entire worlds vanished beneath the rising seas. Archaeologists know this. They have seen it again and again. Off the coast of Greece, the UNESCO-documented site of Pavlopetri rests beneath the water, an entire town more than 5,000 years old. Streets, courtyards, rooms still outlined in stone, a settlement frozen in a moment the sea refused to erase. In North America, the ancient city of Cahokia once controlled vast river networks. Before the water shifted, its channels and banks shaped a sprawling civilization. Only hints of its pre-flood landscape remain. Off India's western shore, claims of an underwater city in the Gulf of Cambay sparked fierce debate. Sonar scans revealed rectilinear blocks spread across the seabed, though researchers still argue over whether they are cultural or geological. Controversial, yes, but impossible to ignore. And then there is Doggerland, a vast landmass that stretched across what is now the North Sea. It supported forests, animals, and human communities for thousands of years, until one day it didn't. Dr. Jeff Bailey of the University of York has spent decades studying these submerged landscapes, evidence that human civilization once lived far closer to the ancient coasts than modern maps allow. When the seas rose, those coasts simply disappeared. We know this happened. We know cultures lived on land that is now underwater, and we know their settlements did not vanish by choice, but by flood. So we return to Yonaguni, a monolithic terrace system sitting exactly where an ancient shoreline would have been during the late Pleistocene, a structure that appears carved by intention, yet weathered by time. If so many settlements were lost, how many more remain unseen? Yonaguni could have been a port, a gathering place, a ceremonial platform overlooking a coastline that no longer exists. Or it could have been nothing more than natural stone, towering above the sea until the waters reclaimed it. We cannot say who lived there. We cannot say what they built. We cannot even say their culture had a name. But the global pattern is unmistakable. Pavlo-Petri, Cambay, Doggerland, Cahokia's river worlds, fragments from drowned histories scattered across the planet, each one a reminder that our understanding of the past is shaped by the land we can still see, not the land we have lost. So when we look at Yonaguni, its terraces, its platforms, its impossible symmetry, we should remember that countless ancient coastlines were swallowed by time, countless communities were erased without leaving artifacts, pottery, or foundations. Sometimes all that remains is the stone itself. Perhaps Yonaguni is one of them. Perhaps it is the echo of a culture we no longer remember. Or perhaps it is something else entirely. For now, the only certainty lies in the rising seas that ended those forgotten worlds, and in the mystery waiting beneath the waves of Japan.
Perhaps Yonaguni is the echo of a culture we no longer remember. Or perhaps it is something else entirely. And this is where the real problem begins. Because if the monument was shaped by human hands, then it should belong somewhere in Japan's archaeological timeline. But it doesn't. It doesn't fit anywhere. Japan's earliest known large-scale stone structures appear thousands of years after Yonaguni would have stood above the waves. Archaeological reports from the Japanese Archaeological Association show a slow, gradual development of settlements, small, scattered, and simple. Nothing resembling terraces the size of buildings, nothing suggesting engineering on this scale. Yet sea level models from Peltier and Fairbanks indicate that between 8,000 and 10,000 years ago, Yonaguni's summit was dry land. Wind above it, sky above it, not the ocean. If someone carved it, they lived at a time when no known culture in the region was capable of shaping stone like this. And that creates a paradox. The site offers no carvings, no pottery fragments, no tools, no burial markers, not even a stray piece of worked stone. No artifacts, no inscriptions, no answers. The rock itself refuses to help. It is too eroded for standard dating methods, too ancient for organic remnants, too weathered to reveal any clear signs of shaping, even if they were once there. So researchers are forced into conflict. Masaki Kimareya argues the structure may be as old as 10,000 years, possibly modified by an early coastal culture. He points to the terraces, the angles, the repeating shapes, features he believes exceed what nature produces on its own. Dr. Robert Schock, on the other hand, suggests a different compromise, that Yonaguni is primarily natural, but might have been altered by humans when it still stood above the sea. Minor adjustments, selective shaping, nothing monumental. Meanwhile, Jamstek maintains the most conservative stance. There is insufficient evidence for human construction. No tools, no debris, no definitive marks. 3 perspectives, 3 realities. None of them overlap. If Yonaguni is natural, its precision is inexplicable. If it is modified, the culture that did it should not exist. If it is fully artificial, then it may be among the oldest structures ever found on Earth. And so the puzzle deepens. Not because of what Yonaguni reveals, but because of what it hides. What do you do with a monument that refuses to fit into history? One that sits outside our timelines, outside our expectations, outside everything we think we know about early Japan. A structure too old to belong to the present and too precise to belong to the past. This is the age problem, and it is the reason Yonaguni remains one of archaeology's most unsettling mysteries. In the end, we are left with contradictions, silent, unresolved, waiting beneath the waves. And in our final chapter,
we face the only truth Yonaguni may ever give us.
So we return to the mystery waiting beneath the waves of Japan. And now, at the end of our journey, we face a question no one can answer. What is the Yonaguni Monument, really? There are three possibilities, three paths that lead in completely different directions, and none of them end cleanly. The first is the simplest, that Yonaguni is entirely natural, a geological masterpiece carved by time, currents, and pressure. A coincidence of angles and fractures so precise it mimics architecture without ever being touched by human hands. A natural wonder wearing the mask of intention. The second possibility sits between worlds, that the formation is natural but was modified by early coastal peoples when the land still stood above the sea. Terraces sharpened, platforms leveled, edges refined. Not a city, but a canvas shaped by the hands of a community long forgotten, a blend of earth and effort. And then, there is the third path, the most controversial, the most unsettling, that Yonaguni is an entirely artificial structure, a monument or a platform or something we no longer have the words for, built by a culture that vanished before the sea rose. A civilization erased so completely that only stone remains to hint they ever existed. But every possibility comes with shadows. Research here is difficult. The currents are powerful. Coral grows over edges, softening the lines we try to study. Each year, the structure erodes a little more, its secrets wearing down grain by grain. If answers ever existed, the ocean is slowly pulling them back into silence. And that is what makes Yonaguni so haunting. It challenges our timelines. It challenges our history. It challenges the idea that we already understand the people who lived before us and the worlds they built on shorelines long since drowned. It rises from the darkness and sinks back into it, a monument suspended between geology and archaeology, between certainty and imagination, between what we know and what we are still afraid to ask. Because maybe Yonaguni is not a monument to the past, but a monument to everything we still don't understand.
As we leave the waters of Yonaguni behind, the monument remains where it has always been, silent, immense, and patient. Some mysteries demand answers. Others remind us why the unknown still matters. What lies beneath Japan's waves may never be proven, but its presence lingers, a quiet challenge to our understanding of history, and a reminder that the world is far older, far stranger, and far less explored than we imagine. Thank you for joining this journey into the depths. Until next time, this has been Deep Records.